Good afternoon, Ben.
Hi, how you doing?
Hello. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. So, can you understand why they needed this pulled down?
I understand the issue. I understand why people might feel that it shouldn't be up. Absolutely get that, and I'm very supportive of anti-racism campaigns broadly. But I think this is a democratic country, and there are ways and means of achieving that. We have a mayor in Bristol, executive mayor, who says he doesn't think it should have been up, but it was within his control in a democratically elected role to have it taken down if he thought that was the right thing to do. I don't think there's ever a reason or certainly to celebrate, as one of our Nottinghamshire colleagues has done. There's never any excuse to celebrate criminal damage. I think that we've got processes in this country to deal with that properly.
As far as I understand it, though, people had campaigned, they'd been petitioned, they'd been talking about it for years and years, and it hadn't happened. There's such strength of feeling at the moment, and can you imagine? I mean, I'm a white woman, you're a white man, so I can't really imagine what it must feel like. But I can try to imagine what it must feel like to walk past that statue every day and think, there's a man who owned people, who traded people, who branded people. And I can understand that anger, can you not?
I can understand that. And I think, as I say, we have democratic processes. The mayor of Bristol, I believe, is a Jamaican immigrant whose father came over here from a country with obviously a long history in terms of the slave trade and bringing slaves over to the UK. So I'm sure he has every understanding and of that feeling. And he is democratically elected to take those decisions. I think, as I say, we have processes. If you want to go back to Britain's history, we had an imperial past, and not everything that happened were things that we would consider to be great and positive in the 21st century. But I think, if you start going around all of our historic monuments and mobs pulling down all of the statues of people who have done things that we didn't like hundreds of years ago, there wouldn't be many statues left, to be honest. I mean, the Romans have got a lot to answer for, haven't they?
Do you remember when the Berlin Wall came down, though? We all cheered at that, didn't we?
We did, and
Is it not just the same? Or when Saddam Hussein's statue came down?
But we didn't. Those places at those times were not, democratic and kind of the same situations as we're in now. Obviously, the liberation of Baghdad is not the same as London in democratic kind of modern 21st century United Kingdom. The situation
if you spoke to somebody who lived in Bristol, a black person in Bristol, they might find some parallels, don't you think?
No, to be honest, I don't think there is any sense or logic in comparing Bristol to Baghdad. I think that's a little bit of a ridiculous statement, to be honest.
What about the Berlin Wall? What about the celebrations that happened when the Berlin Wall came down?
Well, I mean, I wasn't born, to be honest, so it's very difficult for me to go back and to judge what that might have been like. But, as I say, my understanding of communist East Germany is that it's very different to 21st century Bristol. But regardless, we have the rule of law in this country. And as the policing minister was very clear this morning, it was a premeditated criminal act. Those people came along with tools to remove the statue. Regardless of the issue, which I'm very, very supportive of, there are lots of anti-racism campaigns that I personally support, particularly, within sport. But there is never an excuse for criminal damage, and we can't allow, this kind of mob rule where a handful of people can come and trash what is effectively public property. And frankly, even if there is a case for removing the statue, I think there absolutely is, by the way, a case for reviewing and having a look at something like that. We also need to learn from that history. It's something that maybe should be in a museum, something we should teach our children about. We need to understand the errors of the past and to learn from them, not just kind of destroy these things.
What about the protests in general? What about what we've seen? As somebody who is in government and in influence, are you listening?
I'm not in government, I'm a backbencher, but I think we should be listening. I hope that people are listening. Clearly there's great strength of feeling. And as MPs, pretty much all of us get involved in these kind of anti-racism campaigns. They're regularly represented in Parliament and regularly have events and support those things in Parliament as well. It's frustrating, though, that I think, particularly at this time, when so many of my constituents are talking to me about the sacrifices that they have made throughout lockdown to, not see parents, not attend funerals and all of those kind of things, to see so many people willing to gather in that way. As I say, I totally understand the issue, but it's a really bad time to be having thousands of people packed together. And there is a concern and a big frustration from my constituents that it's going to put put people at risk and lead to more lockdown measures and dragging this whole thing out.
Does it not reflect then the sheer desperation of the situation, perhaps? When, as you know and I know, that black people are severely and disproportionately affected by coronavirus, that they still would come out.
Quite. For all the more reason to not gather in the thousands and increase the risk of doing that. I mean, government is acting in terms of coronavirus risk. There is a report being pulled together by Kenny Badenoch, who is the Equalities Minister, and we're looking very closely at those the impacts and why that is, because we need to understand whether that is a societal thing or a genetic thing, or what are those factors that lead into that, so that we can try to deal with them. But that's the way to do it. Ripping down statues and spray painting Winston Churchill is not going to get anything done.
Ben Bradley, MP for Mansfield.